Welcome to the Plastic Adventures Podcast. I'm Doug, joined by Steve, and we like to talk about toys. A lot.
We're here to take you on a trip down memory lane, a fireside chat, if you will, about those little pieces of plastic that captured our hearts and imaginations.
So join us on this plastic adventure, and let's talk toys.
Welcome, everybody. This is episode 3 of the Plastic Adventures Podcast. I am Steve, and this is Doug.
Hello.
Different from last time. Yes, different intro. It is the middle of the week. I don't remember what day it is, but it's
the 6th of October.
6th of October. There we go. Really excited to be here, and we've got some of these under our belt, so we're becoming real amateur podcast professionals.
Amateur. Let me interject there and say, work with us as we go through our growing pains. We're learning how to do this podcast. It's fun. We love talking about it. We're going to see if we can grow our podcasting prowess and add some special effects maybe here and there and do some things down the future. But we're expecting this to kind of grow as we grow, so bear with us.
Yes, and I am 42. I don't internet very well. So we'll come up with some better sound effects than dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee for news.
That's a great sound effect.
And hopefully just improve and make this a better experience for everybody. So I guess we'll kick off with a little bit of news or anything cool. You see anything out there, Doug, that you thought was pretty sweet that you want to share with everybody?
I'm still jazzed about these ramen toy Centurions. They are looking very good. They look like how I want a reintroduction of toys, action figures to look. Very much reminiscent of the G.I. Joe Classified. They're updated design. They look very realistic. They're made with the adult collector in mind.
Yeah, the articulation looked to be really good. It's hard to figure, though. Are these like a 6-inch scale figure, or
well, it's kind of hard. It's kind of really hard to tell. But from their mock-up pictures of what they're expecting their finished design to be, I mean, they look like they're going to have the attachment the same as the ones that we grew up with, the holes in the arms and the legs and the chests and the accessories that kind of go along with it, which is very cool.
Yeah, and they were, an 8-inch scale, I think.
They were a larger scale. They were. So I don't know if these ones are going to be that way, but I am still really excited because I think, there's a definite market for that.
Most definitely.
Guys like us, we want that stuff. And so if the makers like Mattel and Hasbro were not giving them to us, well, somebody on the internet is going to fill that gap, and they're going to give it to us.
Yeah, I was really surprised that it was third party.
Yeah.
I thought for sure somebody's got to own the copyright to this, and it's just kind of sitting on a dusty shelf somewhere. But I love third-party products. Man, there's so many great Transformers third-party characters. They filled a lot of the gaps in the collections because these big companies have a tendency to give us the same over and over and over. And if we were without a Huffer or Pipes, there was a third party to turn to get that. And also, I wonder about how the copyright holder feels seeing this property done. Because Hasbro has been super awesome and chill with the third-party producers. They're just kind of letting these guys do what they do. A few of them have gotten into a little trouble over the years, but they're really relaxed with it.
The way I see it is if somebody like Hasbro or Mattel is not quite ready to tackle that franchise or that license yet, letting somebody kind of carry that on as a third party as a way to keep I think they know, oh, well, this brand is still alive. There's people out there still like it. We're not ready to tackle it yet, but these guys are keeping it alive, so we're just going to let them do it until we're ready to take over, until we're ready to throw something out there.
A hell of a test market.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got no skin in the game. So,
nope. And if it's a success, then they know, hey, maybe we need to start focusing on this one now.
Yeah.
So that's one I'm really excited for. I saw some guy. I just not too long ago found Instagram. I know it's been out for years and years and years, but hey, I'm 46 years old. Leave me alone. I just found Instagram. Anyway, I've been cruising Instagram.
Is that on MySpace? Because that's about how hip I am.
MySpace.
I I suck, dude. I'm so bad.
Tom misses me on MySpace.
Okay, oh yeah, the one guy left on my friends list. Yeah.
No. Okay. So on Instagram, I follow a lot of hashtags and GI Joe, Transformers, all the good ones, all the toy ones to follow. And I've been seeing some pictures of there's some people out there who are making their own custom 6-inch GI Joe classifieds. Mm-hmm. And there was one guy out there. I can't remember his name now, darn it. But he has been pumping out some of these 6-inch classified figures for ones that were like, why don't we have these yet? Like he made a Grunt, a Stalker, and the accessories with that thing are just like phenomenal. And you wonder, are these guys actually working for Mattel? And this is what they do on the side, and they just kind of, I don't know, because the guy's sculpting abilities and their molding abilities, it's just phenomenal.
Oh, it's gone off the chain. Customizers within about the last, 15, 20 years, you've got 3D printing, mm-hmm. which has been a huge deal, and casting, which I've kind of thrown my hat in on that one and done a few little things. Oh, it's absolutely terrific. And there are some super talented people that would have otherwise been overlooked because they don't have the right person to open the right door for them. But I have a Facebook, so I'm not that much of a Luddite.
He has a Facebook, he says.
And I get that on my feed from time to time. Yeah, I've got a Facebook, yeah. Oh my God, Goosebumps! 20-year-old meme. Yeah, 20-year-old meme that I just found. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, dude, the talent is just off the chain. I used to visit a website called it was the custom forums in Cybertron.com. That's where it was. I actually, Cybertron's one of my favorites. SEI. And people were just doing wild things with Transformers customs 15, 20 years ago. And all of the 3 3/4 inch Joe customs. And I mean, you had people that were just making head sculpts and accessories. So, if you were tired of Duke's head looking like a butt plug from the old G.I. Joe, you could get a different one and paint
families.
Sorry, children, do not ask your parents about it. Especially if they have an example to show.
No. Okay. So we're gonna get back on top. Okay. So yep. I think not gone are the days. I don't want to say that, but remember the days of kitbashing where there was none of that 3D printing or the sculpting and the molding was not available. So you would take the parts from a broken figure and a broken figure over here, and you'd smash them together and come up with a new guy, and then try your hand in painting and be like, this is a new figure.
Sure thing.
I mean, people still do that, and some people are really good at that. But the world has progressed now to where we're at a point where it's not really customizing anymore because you're making your own parts. You're putting them together and creating something new. That's not customizing something that was already there and applying some Bondo and some paint, right?
No,
I mean, it's your own thing.
These people either doing the sculpts and doing casting to provide the parts, or the 3D printer. I mean, it's just a whole new world of professional looking.
Yeah.
And I got way into sculpting for a while. I loved epoxy putty that you just knead together, and it had an open time, and then in half an hour you'd be sanding on it and carving chunks out of it. That was one of my favorite mediums to work with. But now you just get 3D printed stuff that's contoured to the figure. It's supposed to fit. And this is great for the collector community.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're getting characters that we never had a shot at. This classified line. We don't know how much gas it's got left in the tank. We got a good year coming next year, but, are we going to get to CoverGirl? We ever going to get one of those?
I don't know.
Are you ever going to get your crystal ball in classified? God, I hope not.
What's his name?
Raptor.
I'm sorry, Commander.
We don't have a job for Raptor. We have to send him to HR.
HR told us that we had to hire them. It's called diversity in the workplace.
Oh, gosh. No, but what that means to me is that these large toy companies can literally drop off the face of the earth and no longer be doing these things. And we still have people who love this enough that they have tackled the production element of things and can make some of these things available. I mean, they may not be available in large quantities, but it's comforting to know that the community will find a way.
Heck yeah, man! Look at Kickstarter.
Yeah.
All of the things that are showing up there. I mean, that goes into production. That's real metal tooling and injection molded plastic, etc., etc. I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's just shows the heartbeat of the collectors community, because you're not going to get something that is a O-ring inspired Joe in the store. We're starved of that at the moment, but yet we've got things on Kickstarter that are going to give it to us.
I'd love, like I said before in a podcast, either we haven't aired yet or we will, but I love the O-ring, and I love the O-ring style of action figures, and I really wish that Hasbro would have given it to us in the retro line, but that's another topic.
I think before we exit this hardly a news segment, optimal articulation, in my opinion, Cops and Crooks. They were like a scaled up G.I. Joe, and they had wrist articulation. Doesn't get better than that.
No.
Figures looked really good. They were very mobile. You could get them into the vehicles. It may, because of the rivets and screws and stuff, might not be as feasible now, but that was a great kind of the optimum mix of aesthetics and articulation, and we owe that to O-ring.
Yeah. And I think O-ring can just get some poses that or feel that even some modern figures can't get.
The stuff now is so cut up with articulation. It looks like you threw Spider-Man in underneath your lawnmower and put them back together with super glue for all the way that the articulation cuts.
The large biceps and the very small elbows.
Yeah, they put them back together with hinges or something. At some point it just makes the figures look ugly.
Yeah,
and how much do you need? We grew up with 5 POA Star Wars, and you could tell the whole story with 5 points.
You really could.
But when you figure you can't keep one leg forward and one leg backwards, and it looks like
trying to do
somebody liquefied his bone structure and tied it in a knot. That's harder to play with. Anyways, anything else that you saw that...
I'm trying to think if there was. I'm going to have to be a little bit more observant and try to write some stuff down whenever we decide to do these things so I have something to say. But
there's not much great stuff out there blowing our minds this week. Yeah.
But, maybe my next one we'll have some pretty good stuff to report.
Yeah, I got a couple that are worth mentioning, and if you haven't seen them, it is definitely worth checking it out. The 5-point of articulation Super 7 Joes that we know are coming to Target. Mm-hmm. You can order the exclusive stuff on Big Bad Toy Store. All of the green shirts and the Cobra Troopers and all the different nationalities that they come in, which is super sweet. They are making 2 Target exclusives. Cobra Commander with vac metal faceplate. Looks pretty cool. Yep. And a Snake Eyes from comic appearance Snake Eyes. So he actually has the gloves. He doesn't have the painted skin-colored hands like the release is going to from the cartoon. So that Snake Eyes is going to come on a really neat card, very unique card.
Oh, very cool.
And since these are licensed from Hasbro by Super 7, they'll be $30 a piece for some low articulation, but they're neat.
Yeah.
For what they are, they're really neat.
The links will go.
One thing I did want to plug before we get on to our subject, we are Southeastern Washington based, and anybody out here who's listening, we got the Greater Inland Northwest Toy Show coming up. It's a bi-yearly thing that they do up in Spokane. We got a chance to go last time, and it was really cool.
Oh, I loved it.
I believe that is the 13th of October, which is Saturday. Early bird at 9 and general admission at 10. So I think we're going to commute up there and early bird it.
Oh, we will. We'll early bird the crap out of that thing.
So worth it last time. So any of our southeastern Washington, northeastern Oregon peeps out there, come out, man. It's a great show. It's full of vendors that have a ton of cool stuff, and you're going to see rarities there that you would not have an opportunity to see. You know, Fortress Maximus complete for $8,000 or whatever they want for it. But you get to see it.
Yeah.
I was there, man.
In person.
I was there. Photo ops, $20 a piece, signed by Fortress Maximus. All right.
Himself. And maybe what we'll do is okay. So one, we'll work on trying to get this podcast up way before then, so that way if people hear this, the two people who may follow us know that this thing is coming. But we'll also try to do a podcast of our experiences at the toy show. So maybe we'll do some videos on the next podcast. We'll put those up there. We'll take some of the pictures of the loot that we grab, and just give an overall experience review of what it was like.
Yeah, I can't wait to have Deal and Doug there with me this time.
Hey man,
this guy knows how to bargain.
I can find you some deals. I know how to. You're like, oh, do you want that for 30? No, how about 15? 15. I got $15 right here. Come on. Okay, 18. But that's it. All right.
This is how you get your retro style Boba Fett that all the scalpers picked off the shelf. Every single one of them.
You know, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Nope.
And most of the times they're just going to say yes.
Worst they can say is no.
That's right. And then I just walk away. All right. We'll move on to our topic. We decided that the topic today should be if we were to start our hobby all over again, or if somebody was to come up to us brand new, what would we tell them? What would our advice to be? How would we start our collections again? Or what would we focus on? So I was thinking myself, you know, I think when I first started this hobby, it was kind of an eclectic combination of, oh, I remember that, I'm going to grab that. Or, you know, back in the days when you can go onto eBay and buy a lot of G.I. Joes for $80, and that was like, oh my gosh, that was expensive.
40 figures though.
Yeah, you get a crap load of them.
Yeah.
And those days are gone, by the way. You're lucky if you can find a lot of maybe 6 or 7 figures, and you're not talking $80 already. So, but you know, back in those days, in 2009, even before that a little bit, when we were doing all of this, coming up with trying to get back into our childhood, we could do that. So we were buying a lot of stuff and not really. Me personally, not really focusing on what it was I wanted my collection to look like. You know, I was just grabbing stuff and I wanted it and it was cool to have it again, and that was it. But then you kind of just wind up with a bunch of stuff that you don't want, right? You get this stuff off to the side that was like, well, I bought it for this lot because it had these 6 figures or it had these 20 accessories, but you wind up with a bin full of stuff you're not really sure of.
Well, and it's really tough to defeat that compulsion to buy something because the price is good and it's something that's kind of cool. But then, you know, it's not something that you're mainly focused on, one of your true passions. So you end up with a bag of stone protectors or something.
Something odd.
End up in your closet.
Yeah. And so when I was thinking about this, I was kind of like, well, the first thing that I would tell my younger self, if they came up to my older self, would be to have a focus in mind. Know what it is that you want your collection to contain, to kind of look like, the overall what you want your collection to look like, and to not settle for something just because, oh well, you know, it's $5 and I know it's missing his arm. I could probably find his arm somewhere or something like that. Don't settle for something like that. Just go out and it's better to save your money and find what it is that you're looking for, rather than just kind of having a shotgun effect of, well, maybe I can, if I spend this money, I'll get something good.
Yeah, you know, I agree with that. I think you've really got to decide where your passions lie. I'm a passion collector. I do complete some things. But, you know, I get into something like Hasbro's, and you just kind of got to decide how deep you're going to get into it. Are you going to buy this for the nostalgia and get a bunch of banged up figures with busted thumbs or whatever it's going to be? Are you pleased enough with showing just some examples of something that you enjoyed? A good example would be your collection of G.I. Joes is outstanding, and they're like almost all complete, you know, full-on accessories. I have less fully complete Joes in my collection. I have the ones complete that really matter to me, but I've still got some accessories that I'm on the hunt for. So I collected Joe. I don't collect for value, ever, because that doesn't mean anything to me. If I wanted an investment, I would buy a stock.
Right.
Or I would put more money in my 401k or, something like that. But, the other things, my mask vehicles, I want those complete. So I would say that narrow it down to something that you're really passionate about, or if it's just nostalgia and you're going to have a hunk of geography on a shelf like mine, it came from the 80s.
I love
where
that
not
shelf.
all of those are complete. I ain't buying no Raiders of the Lost Ark whip from 1983. I'm not buying Christar's armor. That's $800 to complete some figure like that. But
oh my gosh.
So my best piece of advice is just to determine how you are going to collect something first and foremost. Second, we all see stuff that we get we get jazzed about online. Brand new stuff that's coming out. Do you really want it?
Yep.
Those
Make that
Ninja
determination.
Turtle 2-packs that are out right now. They're the cartoon based, and they're $35, and they're Walmart exclusives, and you get like Michelangelo and Bebop and Rocksteady and Leo. Dude, those are rad.
They look
I love
really
Ninja
cool.
Turtles. They're awesome.
I turn them down every time I see them because they just don't. It's not what I want in my collection.
It's a pass for me too. So save your money on the little things. I mean, it's brand new and nobody's getting it. A lot of these Masters of the Universe Origins figures, I'm very lucky about the way that I where I can hit these stores, but just because the new Vac Metal Battle Armor He-Man and Battle Cat 2-packs out there, oh, that's rad.
I haven't grabbed that one yet.
But I don't collect them.
Is
so
it
I
still
took a
out there?
pass. So yeah, they're popping up in good quantities. My second piece of advice is if you're going after a high quality collection, like you're going to really hit G.I. Joe hard, you're going to hit Transformers hard, and you want those accessories or completed figures, do not buy lots of figures.
Nope.
Do not buy 50 do not buy a bunch of incomplete figures and then try to piece them together. Not in today's market. I am learning this big time with my mask vehicles where you see a vehicle that you think's a steal at $30 for Manta with Gloria Baker, or not Gloria Baker, the what the hell's her name, the evil chick, I'll remember it.
Halfway through the podcast, you'll just say
yeah,
that.
I know. I'll make a big mistake like I did with Transformers Zone and Victory last time. Anyways, Vanessa Warfield.
There you go. See?
Her mask, $30. Ejection seat, $50. These are average prices on eBay. So my super good-looking deal at $40, I got $100 to complete that vehicle to put back into it. Or you buy a complete one for $110. So if it's anything other than just nostalgia to have something for memories on the shelf, just buy the complete toy. Do not go through all of that hassle of parting it out. I mean, could you imagine if you were trying to complete your killer whale today?
No, not today. No. And that's what, back, like I said, back in the day, even I mean, I say back in the day, and it was like 2009. That's
back in the day. We're that old, though.
Gosh. But, back then, we could do something like that. We could find lots where people would just put all of their plastic parts together, and you would buy it, and you would take maybe 4 or 5 of those, and then you'd pass that lot on to somebody else, and they would get what they want. But those days are those kind of finds are very few and far between now, because people know what it is that they've got, and so piecing together something is way more difficult today than it was back then.
Most definitely, and it's changed big time, and that is a market completely driven by us, people our age.
Yep.
A lot of us are getting it to where we have a little bit more disposable or hobby income, and we want our memories back. So I got lucky on a lot of the things that I collect. I would get in right before it got hot and blew up. My Masters collection, I don't have a dime into that upside down, because I would buy in lots, cherry pick what I wanted, and then I would resell. But I'm really regretting selling my 2 sorceress staffs I had when I didn't have a
you got in a random pile.
Now I got a sorceress and no staff. Prime example, sorceress $80, $100, sorceress staff $65, complete sorceress, $120. At this point in time in the hobby, we are to that point. And thank your boomers or whatever we're supposed to be.
What are we
because
saying
we're the ones driving up all the prices. But if you're collecting to complete, man, buy your stuff complete. Don't.
It's better to save your money and know what it is that you're buying than trying to take a chance on trying to piece something together and you may never do it, and then that thing will just sit on your shelf and just stare you in the face. And but like Steve said, you if you're buying it for nostalgia reasons and completing it is not at the top of your list, then then buy that thing and be happy with it. But if you're looking to get into the hobby, so I'm also a passion collector. I love buying the things that I had when I was a kid. But I also kind of try to look for, the best condition that I can find or things like that. Because when I had them as a kid, they weren't broken. They weren't trash. They were right out of the package, brand new. And so I kind of want to look at that again. And so do I have the best top-notch stuff in my collection? No, I do not. I know I don't. I have, like right there, my Insecticons. Those are not top-notch. But I love them. I'm not going to replace them. They are perfect the way they are, and they're not going to be replaced. Now, if I stumble across one in some box or get lucky enough where I get gifted one, maybe. But those guys I'm not looking to replace because I love them the way they are. And that's what it should be when you're trying to put your collection together. That's what I was saying about focus. Know what it is that you want it to look like. If you want your collection to be mint on card, then be prepared to pay the money for mint on card. Don't expect to come in this with pennies and be able to come out with making money. That's not going to happen.
Not at all. No.
If you're looking for just having the figures or just having the Transformers or whatever it is, be happy with what it is that you're getting. But focus is probably a big one. And the other one that I wanted to point out, another piece of advice, is budget. Know what you're willing to spend on something, and if something is more expensive than you're willing to spend on it, don't buy it. Chances are it'll pop up somewhere within your budget. So I am a budget spender. I have a budget. I give myself, I don't go above this, and I have been able to find some really great stuff because I have given myself those boundaries. Do I get what I want when it first comes out, or do I get what I want when I first try to look for it? No, chances are I'll be hunting for something for 6 months, but I can find it within my budget if you're patient. And that's the other thing. Focus, budget, and patience. Patience is a big thing in this hobby.
Yeah, maybe one that we overlooked. Connect.
Well, your network.
Find your local toy guys. They're out there. Whether it's through Facebook or whatever social media that you have. We're in an area in southeastern Washington where we got 260,000 people. That's our populace base roughly that's here. There is a reasonable amount of toy collectors
there
here.
Are.
And you run into them when you're out on the hunt, in the wild. You connect with them when you sell things on the marketplace. Having that network, especially if you can find the ones that are just cool people to be around, who love the hobby and share your passions. I love sharing this hobby. The best part of this hobby is sharing the hobby. That can really turn you on to some things that you need, whether it's through trades, whether you got something that somebody needs and you hook them up and they pay it forward. That could be probably the best piece of advice there. There's tons
Absolutely.
of Facebook groups where it's a bunch of passionate people that come together that just really love the things that they collect, whether it's Joe's or Hasbro wrestlers or whatever it's going to be, Transformers, Star Wars. There's always people in those groups that are worth knowing and that are passionate and that want to share it with you.
Oh, absolutely. You know how motorcycle guys love to talk about motorcycles? Car guys love to talk about cars and whatever. Toy guys, toy collectors, we're the same way. We love to talk about them. We'll tell you what we know about them. If you come up to us and be like, hey, what do you know about G.I. Joe? And you'd be like, well, pull up a chair.
Oh, hell yeah.
You got 3 hours? Because that's what I'm going to talk about right now.
I didn't tell you this. I ran into a guy at Target.
Oh, yeah?
I was over there looking for looking at the Revelations figures that had just come out. And this is probably like a month ago. And the guy kind of looks up at me, and for some reason there's this stigma that all of us toy collectors are a bunch of basement-dwelling trolls. That's such a lie. Only like most of us. Anyways, so the guy, he was a little hesitant to strike up a conversation, and I said, "Oh, which one are you looking for?" "Oh man, I just saw these, and I remembered it when I was a kid, and these new ones look so rad. And then they got these ones, and before we knew it, the guy's showing me pictures of his McFarlane toy collection. He was primarily a McFarlane toy collector. I showed him pictures of the stuff from my collection. We didn't go on a date or exchange numbers or anything like that. No toy date,
but you had a connection.
He's just another guy within the community, and at some point, we run into each other. Hell, maybe he's listening to the podcast right now.
That would be cool.
This is a great hobby to be in, and there's really good people. So, never be afraid. I don't walk into that toy aisle and I'll be afraid of what somebody thinks of me. They see this grown man. I'm married. I don't got a sense of pride.
I don't either. Yeah. I walk in the store, I go straight for the toy aisle. I know what I'm looking for. Okay, yeah, I'm not embarrassed. I will get there. In fact, if Steve comes with me, I'm going to race him to the toy aisle. I don't care. I'll trip him on the way there. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I think we subtly establish ground rules of what we're looking for, so that we don't step on each other's collector toes. But
along with that, though, the majority of the people in this collection are very down to earth, very good people. But that will bring me to my next point: is not everyone has your best interest in mind. Also, so beware, and that's like with anything. I'm not saying it's not just this hobby; it's with anything. But so just beware of where you're picking things up from. eBay is generally a good place, even though people like to put it down, and some of the prices are pretty outlandish. We'll probably talk about scalpers in an upcoming episode. I'm not one to try to feed the scalpers. I don't know.
Goose fraba. It's not for today's podcast.
That's right. But it's one of those things. It's like anything. Like if you're shopping for a new car, or you're shopping for a refrigerator, or shopping for things like that. When you get to the point where you're trying to build this collection, be choosy. Don't settle. Get what you want, and make sure it is what you want, and then you'll be proud enough to show it off in your collection.
Collect what you love.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it's here for.
I don't like Care Bears. I'm not going to collect Care Bears. I love 80s stuff, but I'm not a Care Bear guy.
Well, I ain't got a Teddy Ruxpin. I don't got Sectors. There's all kinds of stuff. Sky Commanders, anything that was rad when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I collect the things I love. Plain and simple, and I think that's the best piece of advice to give. I don't even buy stuff for trade bait. I pass by things that I know are new or hot in the store. I don't even buy them for trade bait. I go right to the things I love, and if they're there, I buy them. If not, then I come back like some kind of sociopath every single day until they are. I swear to God, the people at Walmart either think I own the place, or they think I'm some kind of a corporate narc.
No, he's over in the toy department. He must be the toy department manager. Let's go ask him. He knows what's going on.
Sometimes I've got my little name badge for work, and I walk in at 7 in the morning to Road 68 Walmart, and the people there, they want to say something, and they could if they wanted, but
yeah, they know you by now.
Yeah, they know. I don't know why I've never said. I know I'm in here a lot, and I collect toys, but not like I'm not like the 40-year-old virgin. I'm older than that.
Only slightly.
Only slightly. And I've been married, so we know how the other part has worked out.
We don't fit in that category. But and another thing to know is that collecting means something different probably for everybody. Even between me and Steve, we all have our own reasons why we do it. A lot of the reasons align, and a lot of the reasons are this. We grew up with it, we played with them, we have a lot of great memories. But a lot of other people, they collect for other reasons. Maybe they were growing up, they were in an area where they didn't have a lot of kids else to play with, and so their toys were something that they were able to express their need to have a connection with other things, or or maybe they were in an area where there was a lot of people and they didn't want to be as social as everybody else, so they collected toys and that's what they wanted. So, there's reasons for everything, and find your reason. Find what it is that your reason. It'll help you focus, and then take into heart the other things that we've said. So
heck yeah. Get connected, man. It's well worth it. Lots of good friendships to be had out there.
Oh yeah, some really cool people. Really cool people. Let's see. That was really all I had to say about what I would do if I was starting today. What would you
collect if you had to start today? What would be the line that you wanted to pick up and start with today?
Okay. How old am I today?
Doug sells his toy collection, donates it all to charity, and they just don't know what to do with that $200. That's what my wife's gonna sell all my toys for like $50
I would be rolling in my grave. No,
that box original Optimus Prime, it's $1. It's $1.
Who knows?
So where would you start?
Geez.
What would be your thing that you started in with?
Okay, so if I was starting from scratch, let's just say I was starting from scratch. There are a lot of cool Transformers right now, and Transformers is a big, open franchise. There's a lot of different types of Transformers to collect. We've got different shows going, and very modern ones, very things that are happening right now. And there's something to be said about a robot. Robots are just cool, right? So Transformers, I think, and I do focus on Transformers in my collection, but if I was right now starting from scratch, Transformers would be one that I would really love to just start my collection with.
Would you look into vintage, or would you go some of the modern stuff?
Well, I do both now. I grew up, you and I, G1 fans, G1 till we die. And knowing what I know now, I would definitely try to get the G1 Transformers that I felt connected to. There were some that I really didn't feel connected to.
Sure.
But definitely and make sure that they were the best ones I would get. Like Soundwave and Optimus Prime and good luck finding Megatron but I would go for Transformers, I think, at first. How about you?
A lot of my collecting started off as character driven. So I think the first place that I would start, if my collection got sold at an estate sale and I miraculously sprouted back up, reincarnated as a still older, fatter man, I would go with the characters, but I want to say that I would probably start with the number ones. G1 Optimus Prime, and I would probably save my pennies and try and buy a boxed example, or a very nice, complete. Sidebar to this, I'll circle back around to it. So it would be Optimus Prime, It would be Duke from G.I. Joe, it'd be He-Man, because these characters had such a profound impact on my psyche when I was a kid. When we grew up with it, my mom and dad, they divorced at a very early age, and I have the best mom in the world. She is a freaking saint, and I mean that 100%. I
won't argue with you.
Best mom that you could have ever asked for. I did not have really much for male role models in my life. So seeing these characters that were written in the 80s, they're all written a very specific way. They are more heroic, compassionate, wise than a normal person could ever be. And they all had this really good moral compass that they all adhered to. The types of things that they did, they had compassion for their enemies. They favored solutions before violence.
Yep.
They were heroic and cool, and when it came to violence, who kicks more butt than Optimus Prime? But so character-wise, they made a huge impression on me and kind of shaped the way that I grew up and treated people. So it would be characters, probably primary heroes first. Optimus Prime, Duke, He-Man. I would look for a nice Thunderhawk from Mask, with Matt Tracker.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
a big one for me. And then, I might, beyond that, start subtly getting into some of the bad guy characters. But, I mean, I got a whole wall of Optimus Prime. I got a ton of Dukes. I collect every He-Man. I've got all of the vintage variations of He-Man except for Laser Power He-Man. So if anybody's listening out there and you want to hook a brother up, you're part of my community. So I need a vintage Laser Power He-Man. But still now, with the Masters of the Universe Origins, I've got He-Man, Battle Armor He-Man. I'm going to buy Flying Fist. I'm going to buy...
Terraclass Skeletor.
No, I probably won't. I probably won't do the Skeletors, just the He-Man. But, when you look at my collections, they're fairly full on some things. But,
They are.
That's where I would start. Modern toys. There's a huge split here. The collector in me thinks that we have the absolute best versions ever of vintage characters. Kingdom Optimus Prime, there has never been a better looking, proportioned Optimus Prime figure ever. Like, he walked right out of Transformers, the movie. The new Masters of the Universe Origins figures are the absolute best version that you could have had of that vintage figure with the added articulation.
I know.
The hands that grip the weapons. I mean, everything now. Ball-jointed shoulders and ball-jointed waists that don't break when you put too much tension on them.
But they didn't lose the design of the figure in it.
The flip side of that, I really feel like a lot of these don't have the same fun. Because when you're transforming G1 Optimus Prime, you go, and in short
And
steps,
everybody
you
makes
make
that Transformers
They
sound.
always do. Yeah, some more accurately than others. Yeah, so, the fun factor for some of those old toys was actually the lack of complication.
Yeah.
But as a collector, looking at them right now, man, they look great, but some are fragile as hell. You wear out those ball joints on the new Transformers, and they're hollow, but they look tremendous. So from a collector's perspective, you're putting the absolute coolest looking version of that character that's ever been done on your shelf. But, if you were a kid playing with it, you're going to lose interest when you can Optimus Prime of G1, and this new one you're how the hell did I do that? Oh, this one's back. Don't attack yet, dude.
15 minutes later, you're still making
I'm transform. You can't attack when I'm transforming into a oh, now I'm going to be a robot again. Oh, god damn it, man. Come on. It's going to be 30 minutes while Joey transforms his Optimus Prime. So, yeah, I would definitely go the top ones vintage very first. I would fill out the collection with my secondary essential characters like, Beachhead or Sergeant Slaughter, General Hawk, Falcon Flint, Lady J, and CoverGirl, which I don't have one of those. Vintage Scarlet, which I don't have one of those. Firefly, Cobra Commander, that's how I would work on filling my collection out. Start with the ones that I loved, start with the characters, and then sprout it out. If I'm buying modern, I buy the same modern characters. So I think that's how I'd handle it.
Yeah. You were talking about your why for why you do this. So I was growing up in Southern California. My dad was in the military, so he was always gone. I was always moving from place to place, never in a spot more than maybe 2 years. So I was always the new kid, right? And my mom was pretty much on her own and until whenever my dad would come home and things like that. So we understand that. So one of the things that we always had that I could connect with the other kids, because no matter where you go, toys were toys, TV shows were TV shows.
Yeah.
So
dude, kid bringing the new Joe to the playground. You didn't know you needed fast draw.
Yeah, but that was always one of the fastest ways that I made friends. Was it didn't matter where I was coming from because we all knew those characters, and if I had some toys, I could go play with the kid next door because he would have G.I. Joes or he would have Transformers, and I would have mine. So there was always that connection, and I think that we carry that into adults. That's why we get so connected and so happy when we find another toy collector. It touches that feeling that we would have of finding that other kid that we could play with.
I think that extends into a lot of different hobbies. Baseball card collectors.
Oh.
like you said, motorcycle guys, car guys. They're not meeting for the Starbucks, with their like 1 day of facial hair growth on their spotless crotch rockets and Harleys and their very clean leathers at Starbucks. It's passion. That's why they're there talking about it. So, my passion happens to be little pieces of plastic that captured my imagination.
And everybody has their passion, and it's really cool when you find other people when your passions align.
And I got to say this, other than the stick, is there not I challenge you to find something better to put in a child's hand than a toy of some kind. Action figure, Barbie doll, whatever it is. When you have this thing in your hand, you control the narrative.
Yep.
You make the story. And that is imagination going wild right there. You're digging the holes in the ground, or, making the Barbie house out of cardboard or whatever. It's creative play. It's improv right on the fly.
Yep.
With or without other kids. The ball and the stick. I mean, those are the only other things that, have the same level of creative play.
I don't know. The Slinky, maybe? I don't know.
Slinky. Look, it does one thing. Let's do it again.
No, it does two things. It goes down the stairs and you straighten the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
The first chance you got.
Then your dad uses it to unlock the door of the car because the keys are inside of there. Or you put it into the light socket. Yeah, whatever it is you're going to do with it.
That sounds like something that young Steve may have done, and that's why he has experience with that.
Not at all.
Not at all.
It was the paint chips. Eating all the paint chips. That's what got me.
The toy hobby is good. It's fun. If you're looking to get into it, just keep some of those things in mind. Definitely find somebody else that you can connect with. That's really going to make the hobby worth it. But it's got to be something that you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about it, if you're just trying to turn a buck, man, really, you're not doing anybody any favors. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're not doing the people who are buying stuff from you any favors. Really, it's not worth it. Toys, just like anything else, you've got to have that passion inside of you, or else it's just a waste of time.
100% agree.
Yeah. So I think that's a good spot to end our. What is this? Our third. Our third podcast.
Episode 3, Revenge of the Podcast.
So we'll have some more topics in the future. This one feels. It was a little reminiscent, some good memories going on in there, but look for future stuff from us. We're gonna have jokes, we're gonna have stories, we're gonna have new things to talk about, and I am looking forward to the adventure that we're on.
And comment below. You got something that you want to hear two old guys talk about? Comment below. We'd love to interact, and at some point, I might even comment on your comment. I can do that. I have that ability.
Once you internet correctly, right?
Yeah, once I figure out how to internet, yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. So if we ever get more than maybe 2 views and somebody does drop a comment in, I'm looking forward to that. I want to know what you guys like, what you don't like, what you want to see. If you don't want to hear from us again, just don't, tell us, hey, you guys suck. I'm not going to listen to you anymore. We'll comment on that one too.
I know how to take rejection.
But hopefully it's not. And, and hopefully we can grow this thing. But mainly why we're doing this is just so that way we can talk about toys. That's really pretty much it.
That's it.
Yep. All right. So until next time, thanks for joining us. Steve, thanks.
Always a pleasure.
Bye-bye.